Good afternoon everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today's video is going to be all about my March TBR. I haven't really filmed a TBR video this year so far. I think I did one at the beginning of the year, but it wasn't really a TBR, it was sort of part of a different video that I made. But I thought I would sit down and do a TBR video because I haven't done one in a while. And also, I'm 4 books behind on my reading goals so far this year, so I have some catching up to do. So I have made what is possibly my most ambitious TBR pile of my entire BookTube channel's history. And I'm gonna try and get through it all in March, except for one of the books. There's one book that I'm just aiming to start in March, but not finish. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. There are 2 books that have rolled over from previous months' reading because I've not really had much time to read in the past month, and I don't know why I made myself this ambitious TBR, because I'm probably going to have even less time on my hands this month and next month. So I don't know how I think I'm going to get through all of these books, but I'm going to try my very best. So I'm still busy reading The Past in Hiding by Mark Roseman at the moment, so that is rolling over onto my March TBR. And then I'm also busy listening to Out of Love by Hazel Hayes on my audiobook app on my phone, but I do have the physical copy. But this time around, I'm only going to be listening to the audiobook, and this will be my first reread of the year, and my first reread of my BookTube channel, I think. I don't think I've ever reread a book since starting BookTube. I don't really reread many books anyway, but this will be one of a few that I'm planning on rereading this year. So those are the first 2. Let's see how far we get through this pile. Then the next book on my TBR pile is a book that I'm borrowing from the bookshop that I work at, that I spoke about last week in my book haul section of the reading vlog that I did. It is When We Were Birds by Ayanna Lloyd Banwo, and for this book I can't really tell you what it's about, so we're going to read the synopsis together so that we can find out. Darwin is a down-on-his-luck grave digger, newly arrived in the city of Port Angeles to seek his fortune, young and beautiful and lost. Estranged from his mother and the Rastafari faith she taught him, he is convinced that the father he never met is waiting for him somewhere amid these bustling streets. Meanwhile, in an old house on a hill where the city meets the rainforest, Yejide's mother is dying. I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong, because I don't know how to pronounce them. Yejide's mother is dying, and she is leaving behind a legacy that now passes to Yejide, the power to speak to the dead. The women of Yejide's family are human, but also not. Descended from Corbeau, the black birds that fly east at sunset, taking with them the souls of the dead. Darwin and Yejide each have something that the other needs. Their destinies are intertwined. They will find each other in the ancient cemetery at the heart of the city, where secrets lie buried and trouble awaits. Well, well, well. This is definitely not what I thought this book was going to be about, just from the title, but I'm really intrigued. I'm really intrigued to read this book. I think it's going to be a fantastic read. Then, next on my list, I actually wanted to read this book last month, but I didn't get around to it. So I've put it on my March TBR, and I'm super excited about this book, and I have been for the past, I want to say 4 months, but now I'm getting around to it finally, once I have finished those 3 books. It is Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. I have spoken about this book so often on my channel in the past few months that you're probably sick of hearing about it. But anyway, I'm going to be reading it this month, come hell or high water. For those who don't know what Eileen is about, I will read you the synopsis. The Christmas season offers little cheer for Eileen Dunlop. Trapped between caring for her alcoholic father and her job as a secretary at the boys' prison, she tempers her dreary days with dreams of escaping to the big city. In the meantime, her nights and weekends are filled with shoplifting and cleaning up her increasingly deranged father's messes. When the beautiful, charismatic Rebecca St. John arrives on the scene, Eileen is enchanted. But soon Eileen's affection for Rebecca will put her into a crime that far surpasses even her own wild imagination. So there's that. And I'm, as I said, super excited. Then, the next book on my TBR is one that I bought when I bought Eileen. I bought this book as well. And it is Our Wives Under the Sea. When Leah finally returns after a deep-sea mission that ended in catastrophe, her wife Miri knows that something is wrong. Whatever happened in that vessel stranded on the ocean floor, Leah has carried part of it with her, onto dry land and into their home. As Miri searches for answers to her wife's altered state, she must face the possibility that the woman she loves is slipping from her grasp. I also see that Times put it on their 100 best books for summer list. So that bodes well. And then this book is the book that I'm wanting to start reading this month, but not necessarily finish, because it is a very long book. And as you have seen, I have already put a lot of books on my TBR. So I don't think I will be able to finish this book this month, even if I tried. So I'm only aiming to start reading this book this month. It is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I put this book on my classics I want to read in 2024 list. And if you're thinking to yourself, but it's not a classic, it is technically a modern classic, so I put it on my classics list. I have so far read one of the 5 books that I've put on that list. But I think I need to read some more this month so that I can get into the pile, as this one is quite a big book. And it will probably take me a while to read, so I'm going to try to get through it, and then the other books on my list are shorter than this one. And then I can get through those later. But anyway, The Secret History. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, their lives are changed profoundly and forever. I'm so excited to read this book finally. I think it's going to be great. I mean, everybody and their mother knows that this is a great book. But I'm excited to find out just how great. And then the last book on my TBR pile, I should have probably put Donna Tartt last, because I just wanted to start reading it and not finish the whole thing. I do things my own way, okay? So, this last book on my TBR for the month of March is The Little Red Chairs by Edna O'Brien. This is another book I spoke about and hauled in my last video from the bookshop that I work at. Let me read to you what this book is about. When a wanted war criminal from the Balkans, masquerading as a faith healer, settles in a small West Coast Irish village, the community is in thrall. One woman, Fidelma McBride, falls under his spell, and in this astonishing novel, Edna O'Brien charts the consequences of that fatal attraction. The Little Red Chairs is a story about love, the artifice of evil, and the terrible necessity of accountability in our shattered, damaged world. A narrative which travels deep into the darkness, written with a fierce lyricism and sensibility, The Little Red Chairs dares to suggest that there is a way back to redemption and hope when greater evil is done. Almost 6 decades on from her debut, Edna O'Brien has produced what may be her masterpiece in the novel form. And if that doesn't make you want to read this book, I don't know what will. So, suffice to say, I'm very excited about this one. And I'm really going to try my very best to read all the other books so that I can actually read this one this month as well. That was a mouthful. But anyway, with all that done, here is my March TBR. And it is, in fact, the most ambitious TBR I've ever had. So I better get to reading if I intend on actually finishing all of these books this month. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. If you'll excuse me, I would very much appreciate it. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I could introduce you to some new books that you haven't heard of and that you might like to read. And I'll see you all again next week with another video. Goodbye.